So do you live on reserve?
No, I live on Fish Lake Métis settlement.
Okay, so how far away is that?
Just a few miles, just across the lake.
Okay.
So where you go by the monument, about another 10 miles north.
Okay.
We're just on the other side of Frog Lake, the Frog Lake. My mother was from here, from the Quinny side. Then my dad, Fishing Lake, Métis. Actually, my mom was Métis too, but she was treaty. Actually, you guys got that going now? Well, my mom was actually Quinny from, her dad was the first school teacher here in Frog Lake. Because after 1885, the massacre, they call it a massacre. Me, I don't call it a massacre, or fighting, that's what it is. And nobody would come here to look after, to teach kids or anybody. They kind of left everything on. They were scared to come down here. And I think in the maybe 20s, what you call him, the Anglican Church asked for Charles Quinney. He was a school teacher already in Saskatchewan, Money Lake. The Anglican priest asked him to come down here, which he did. He had 2 quarters land in south end of Clearwater Lake and a family. Then he taught here. I know some of the old people tell me they were really hard. It was just a little kind of log building. They would make fires there to get going. And then they had a hard time for lunch, but he started that. Then I don't know when, in the 20s, I guess, because my mom was born in 1922, and she was 4 years old when the old man passed away. When he passed away, they buried him in Onion Lake. Then my grandmother now, John Horse, was the chief of Frog Lake. Took him in. He said, "I'll take you guys in," and they made them all treaty. Then, because my grandmother didn't have no place to go, he said, "I'll recognize you with her kids." Became all treaty. But they were Métis, actually. They were Métis people. See, they weren't treaty in them days. Because my grandmother my grandmother's, we're checking back 1700, and the guy come from Switzerland, married some native people. Then his family from there went in with Riel Batas, who were fighting there. It's one of my great-grandparents, I guess, my family tree. Then when Mr. Queen, he met her in, I thought I would just say that place in Saskatchewan. I kind of forget the name. He was teaching up there anyways. That's where he met her. As you married from her, he got married, then he came this way. And, well, actually he was from Onion Lake. He came back, but he taught different places. As far as I know, that's all I know, because my mom was only 4 years old, telling us stories about stuff like this. Because she was in the convent after that, in Onion Lake. Then from there, Saskatoon. Then 1944, met my dad in Marwayne. They were working on the farm. They married from there. Then from there, they lived in Fish Lake Métis settlement. Then for me, when I was born in El Point. Well, I'm saying about myself. And through Fishing Lake up here, because Fishing Lake didn't have no, they weren't a settlement or anything, they were just squatters on land. They Métis people. My great-granddad had a homestead in Derwent in 1900s, early 1900, they had land. My granddad went to school there for 6 years in Derwent. But my granddad up there great-granddad couldn't make a living out of there. They were mostly trappers and hunters. He came this way and he's found all kinds of lakes up here. can't starve from there. That's what he said. Then he asked his brother-in-law from Jumbo Hill area, Mr. Charles Delorme. That was in the 1900s. They came to Fishing Lake in 1906. They stayed there now, started that. And they said, well, we've got lots of food up here, and hunting was good. A lot of hunting and trapping, a lot of fur. So then after that, after they starts hiding with, after that massacre here, there was one church left. They used to come to church at Clearwater Lake. Then, then they would have, my great-granddad's buried there in Frog Lake, Clearwater Lake area. And his name was Jack Desjarlais. And after that, they used to come down to church every once in a while down to Clearwater Lake. In 1940, 1938, they made land deals with the government, 99-year lease. Then after that, the government started recognizing them now. They had that land deal, and they started building a church down. They got a church going, they got a school going in the 40s. Then they would still come to church. After, I think, about 45, they had them church going out on their own now. But still, they used to come down and clean the graveyards up here. They used to have a work bee. The whole people would get together, come clean the graveyards on at Frog Lake here. Because my dad and them come help, because that's where their granddads were buried. Quite a thing when you start thinking about that. Then there's other stories I can tell you. My uncle Charlie Daniels, him too. This was John Horse's grandson. It was John Horse's, old Billy Daniels had married old John Horse's daughter. And he told me at one time, he said, old Charlie Daniels told me, he says, you know what? He said, Frog Lake had a bunch of timber, everything was all bush, lots. Big fire came through, cleaned everything all out. Even the horses didn't run away from the fire. They couldn't see, their eyes were burnt out. Because a horse won't run from fire, he said. He said we used to go look for horses, we'd see them just standing there, couldn't see. The flames busted their eyes out. And he said we were all standing in the water at the lake. That fire just seemed like it was right on top of them. He said we were in water to stay away from him. Then I guess they didn't burn everything all up. That old John Horse had, what the heck he told me, 65 head of cows in them days. He said he had relations in Key and they moved all those cows because they had no feed. Everything was burnt out. No feed here. So the guys in Key when had feed, they went up there and guys looked after him for the winter. He said, it's quite a story. You start hearing all these. That's about too much I know about Frog Lake. And after this massacre here too, they talk about money too. There says that one guy told me there's buried along the creek of Frog Lake. There's a big tree there somewhere. They put that money there. But my sister-in-law says there was a guy come. They were looking for that money. He had his dad plowing. They were looking for that money somewhere in reserve here, but God knows what. But then I drank with some other boys from Honey Lake. They said after that massacre they were going to go fight in Fort Pitt. They hid that money somewhere down the trail that way. You don't know what's right. You hear all these stories.
Let's talk about the Frog Lake Massacre. So,
yeah.
I don't know what you can tell. Where's the best place to start in talking about that? I mean, you could start by telling me how you heard that it came to be, or just start with.
Well, the parents kind of talk about what things were saying, like my uncles and them. They were saying they would kind of just say something, but we don't know how true everything all is either. About the Frog Lake Massacre here too. There's quite a bit of history after that too. Like, whereas I know that one of those guys, the Quinns, I think was a Métis guy in there too. So, but what they were saying, the native people were starving. And these guys had all that food. They wouldn't give them then. But that wandering spirit is when they started everything. He's the one that shot the guys first. Then everything blew up from there. I think that Mr. Big Bear, he didn't want to fight with them. But he got all the blame for it too, he was the leader. And I think the Wandering Spirit was from someplace else. Then they must have scattered all over from there. They went all over after the fighting, yeah. And a lot of them got through in jail, and hung in Regina and Battleford. But a lot of them took off north too. You'll find Wandering Spirit in Fort Chip. Ancestries, yeah. People just scattered out. That's what, as far as I know about that too much. I don't know too much about as far as the history of it too much. Then all I know before this, after the massacre, they always have rodeos at Clearwater Lake there too. My grandpa Louis Truddy always to ride there too. Hines's, McMahon's, was quite a few guys. Hines's from Marwayne, local cowboys, was along the lake there. Oh, another thing, I was surprised at one time. I was walking into Frog Lake General Store. There was two guys coming to ask me. I just walked in. He says, "You know anything about the massacre down there?" He said, "We're looking for the flour mill of that." As far as I knew, that flour mill was taken to Vermilion. That's where it's at, in the museum up there. And another thing, they asked me, "You know Henry Stanley?" Yeah, but I don't know where he lives. North End. Because he knows something. We're looking for where Wandering Spirit's sister's buried. He's buried in a hole somewhere. Wandering Spirit, I said, I never heard anything like that. Oh, I says, oh, the man, he says, she was, what you call him, like a week ago they call her. And the people cut her head off. Because she was going to start eating people up. She was eating herself up already. You'll find it in the history book. You'll find that there too. I didn't know that. Till after a while, that guy started asking me about this. Then my boy started looking on the internet. He find it there. She's buried in that lake, Clearwater Lake. They threw her in the water. And de-head her and they put the head on the island. See, all this stuff shows up there. You never hear anything about that. And all these guys, all of a sudden, they come out, they start looking for, and those guys were never ever told about that. That's a lot of stuff from behind them. I guess the older people, but they never ever said anything about it. Kept quiet. Because everything's been so negative. Everybody was scared to come down here. And even the government, I think, to about 1935, things start come. They never helped Frog Lake Reserve or anything. They just started back then. That's after that massacre, because they were scared to come down here. Things after a while start coming out, start showing up. They had a hard time here after that. Yeah. They had a hard time to make a living. A lot of them took off. They went down the lake because the government was helping them down here because they were starving here after that massacre too. Yeah. There's a lot of those people. I know my relations tell me that, but old John Horse didn't go anywhere. He stayed here. He fed the people here too. Had big gardens. It was cows. Kept things, whatever people he had, stayed with him. And as far as that, I don't too much. I can say too much about that. It's all I know pretty well. I said I didn't know very much, but I told you a few things what was handed down to me.
Yeah. Are there any other stories you've heard at all about Frog Lake Massacre? Not really.
No.
What about any other stories about, that you think it'd be important for Frog Lake youth to know about? Just about their history, like any other stories.
The youth?
Yeah, that you think, if I'm a Frog Lake youth or young person, that would be like good for me to know about,
Oh.
What does anything come to mind,
Well, I know I used to come here when it was be treaty days. My mom used to bring us here. I never forget that. And during the summer, I think in July, her and Mrs. It was another lady. They used to call it chicks. Chicks come here. They were throwing out peanuts and candies to us, giving us treats and oranges, stuff like that. They were giving us here, chicks. There was a bunch of us kids. We would be running around gathering all these up. It was Mrs. Quinney doing that, and Mrs. Forget her name. So I'm bad for names anymore. They used to live down the highway here too, and they would have big dances. Had races, horse races, even horse races, and the kids too, like track and field, all that would be here too. And in them days, it was give us treats with that too. Like just for running and sack races, and you double up with your partner with running with that too. In those days, I know as a kid when I was come around a little bit around that too. And let's see. And the powwows. See, before there was never allowed powwows too. They were all, and same with sun dances. They weren't allowed to do that anymore too. Till the last few years back now they start, because they were all banned from doing that too. Because the government would say, well, they were doing these things or organizing things like that. But actually the sun dances, that sun dance is they're fasting for 4 days. Like the Lord was fast for 40 days, and they're fasting for 4 days, dancing in the heat and everything, and not eating, no water. That's what that's all praying. People don't really understand that. Yeah, that's Sundance. Yeah, the leader. There's one head guy that starts that up, and whoever wants to come and do that for a while. Then they said, well, they get rewarded for that. They said their health and what they let them dance for their health. Yeah, and ask the Lord to give them. It's all praying. And that Sundance also. And same with what you call them, chicken dances. It's the same thing. They do that for 2 days. It's all for fasting, and asking the Creator to help them all out. For good health, mostly it's all good health. Because each and every one of us need help for good health. So, as far as I know. Because I wasn't really brought up that way. I was brought up in the white man's way too, till I met a girl from Frog Lake. Actually, it's John Huss's great-granddaughter I met, stayed with. She's one that started showing me about all this native culture. I was brought up in Marwayne most of the time that my dad worked down there. But we actually from the settlement of Fishing Lake. After my dad retired, he moved back up here. Then that's where I stayed after a while too. Most of the time, this were brought up most of the white man's way all the time. They didn't really teach us how to talk Cree either. I picked it up from with the boys who were out. I'm not really fluent in it. Got to learn how to swear lots. That's about it, boys. I don't know nothing else about anything, as far as I know. My old thinker up here is not that good anymore, because I'll be 77 in April here. Yeah.
Is there something special about this place out here and the land out here? And what would you say to that?
Something special?
Yeah, about the place, about being out here and the land and.
Well, I don't know. Maybe some boys can tell you that, because I've never been around too much around here.
Yeah.
Just what I was taught. I don't know, the only thing I was to come down with my grandparents every once in a while down here, to visit John Horse and them. But something special, not that I know of. Because I would just come here too. I never was brought up here to really tell you. But the stories and what I knew was just down that Clearwater Lake a little bit area, and I did the last few years. Maybe for my wife was around to tell you guys somebody's gone. I lost her in June here.
I'm Montessori.
Yep. Oh, well. She's one that taught me quite a bit about the native culture. Yeah. Oh, nothing else as far as I know.
Did you come to the Sundance this summer at all here? Did
Yeah.
Mel Abrahams?
Pardon?
Did you come to Mel Abrahams?
Malvin?
Yeah.
I came to one. Let's see if I came to that Sundance here. I came to one way up north there.
Oh, okay.
It's Joey Quinney and them, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And Moise Paul.
Okay.
Yep. That's one I came to.
Right, because I think Melvin's was just south of
Oh,
here,
yeah,
like
yeah,
just right
yeah,
close
yeah,
there.
down here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I came to that horse dancer.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't come to the, but I came to one up here, but then I came to that horse dance here.
Yeah.
Then I came to another one up the other way. It's called the Horse Dance Road. They were putting there. I never seen so many people there for a horse dance.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've seen a whole bunch of people from.
Is that in Frog Lake here?
Yeah, down farther back up here, the Horse Dance Road up there, they call it. Whichcomb Faithfuls put it on. They put it on Whichcomb. Clarence Faithful and them put it on.
Okay.
There was a lot of people because Clarence was put that on. They were sick, asking for good health there too. They do all that. Everything's for good health, because him too. He's having heart problems, and some of the sisters were having cancer and all that too. Sister-in-laws, all of them too. Then they were all doing that for that too. Asking the horse spirit to help them heal up. That's what that's all about. That's about it, as far as I know.
Well, I appreciate you sharing with us what
Yeah.
you heard. And
It's nice meeting you guys. Where are you originally from?
Edmonton,
What's your last name?
Turco, Ukrainian.
Turco.
Turco,
Turco.
Turko.
Is
I
that,
Sundanced here at Melvin's actually.
Oh,
this
oh,
year
yeah.
with Chief Greg, yeah.
Yeah.
I said this is my first time
Yeah,
Sundancing.
yeah.
I went to another one in Alexander before where I just helped a bit.
yeah,
I
it's
go to
good.
Sweats a lot, and it's a big part of my life.
Go to sweats? It's good. I do it too. Yep. I go to Laverne Faithfuls up here.
Okay.
Yeah, and my brother-in-law, Donald Cross. I and Craig and them all go there. Same with the Lavernes.
Mhm.
They hold that. They take turns,
There's a lot of sweat lodges out here. 'cause
Yeah,
those
they're all
lodges
over.
out
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
calling us.
yeah.
I've never seen anything like that
Yeah.
before.
This last few years.
Yeah.
Last few years. Start coming before, there were not that many. But now a lot of these younger guys are taking that in.
It's good.
Yeah. Especially after the Catholic priest did everything like this, they start showing up. They said, no. This was happening, yeah.
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 You're on. Well, it's good to meet you, Bruce.
Yeah. It's nice meeting you too, boys.
Thanks, Bruce.